Hello, everyone. This is Grandmaster Pascal Charbonneau, and this is Blunder of the Day. What are we at? Day number 13 now. The beginning of the finals for the Chessable Masters by Chess24. What an exciting first day of final action we had. Our dream matchup, Twitter frenemies, Magnus, Carlsen, Anish, Giri, going at each other. And to start with today, I wanted to look at the blunder of the day for today. And we're going to dissect this a little bit more than we do some other times because this goes back to several moves prior. But I did want to start we're going to work our way backwards, if you'll allow me today. And I'll also show you the footage, from the players' faces here. But in this position, Magnus has the white pieces. To set the stage a little bit, he is leading 2-1 in this first match here. And so therefore a draw would have actually clinched the match for him. So he's got the white pieces. And so Magnus with the white pieces, being black against Magnus, needing to win is certainly not an easy task. But in this case, Anish Giri was able to do it. So what did Magnus play here? We have a little bit of a crazy position here. The material is actually equal for now. And it is white to move. His rook is under attack. As you can see, the black bishop is under attack. The white king certainly feels a little bit unsafe. However, you could see a position where if white is able to play bishop c3 soon, potentially it's the black king that could be in danger. But so what does Magnus play here? Magnus plays queen takes c6. And so this is one of the bigger blunders we've seen Magnus play. I mean, it happens in these time controls, of course, a lot more. And we'll go back and figure out what happened here. But Magnus here had actually calculated a lot of really complicated variations that start with the move bishop h4. And we'll go through these. What he missed, we're going to go through these variations in just a second here. What he missed was that after the actually more straightforward but slightly surprising bishop takes e1, he's got a real problem. The reason that this is dismissed is because Magnus saw that he has bishop takes e1, and then he saw, for example, that after rook takes e2, he's got queen takes a8 check, right? With the idea to play, if the king takes, you could play queen b2 check and take this rook. What Magnus missed is that even though here, from a material perspective, from just counting pieces, White's got two bishops for a rook, and if he can just survive one or two moves, play bishop c3, he's going to be completely winning. But black plays queen takes b2, a simple double attack here, attacking the rook and the bishop, and there's simply no move here for white. He's losing everything because with that bishop goes with check, and yeah, everything just falls apart here. So. First of all, I did want to show you this. I haven't done this yet, but I'm going to try this today. I wanted to show you the video of what happened live on our broadcast, so you can actually see for yourself Magnus's reaction to this blunder. And after that, we'll come right back here, and I'm going to walk you through sort of the play-by-play of what happened here.
Question, queen c6, bishop takes e1. Am I not just winning with black?
It's played already.
Bishop e1, queen b2, and resigns. No, like, what's going on?
Whoa.
Bishop e1 and queen b2.
Just attack everything.
Take that.
Wow.
Oh,
Okay.
that's a smack upside the head.
And it's on the board. Did you guys see Magnus's reaction to queen takes b2?
Wow, this is
On the board?
We also missed it because bishop takes e1 is such a strange move, no? To give up
Right.
your attacking bishop.
yes,
for
exactly.
the
Yeah,
silly
you don't.
rook.
Yeah, you don't even look at it. Yeah.
Just wins.
Wow. That's it,
Wow.
right? Yeah, we're just attacking. Let me just make a few nice colors there.
Yeah, little arrows and
I don't see a move even, to be honest.
All right, and so we're back, and so you could probably see Magnus's face as it happened. Sort of a combination of shock and bewilderment and amusement at the same time. Kind of took it in stride. But yeah, so a rare blunder for Magnus. But let's take a look. Let's go back a few moves to the position where this all started. So it started with over here in a position where white has no real problem, no advantage probably either. But Anish made here a very feisty move, knight to b4, attacking the queen on c2 and putting pressure. He still has this pressure of 2 pieces attacking d4. However, taking this knight on d4 does give up, black's better bishop that also protects his king. So it's a bit of a, you got to think about it twice. So here, Magnus takes on b4, and he said that he calculated this variation. We'll go through what he calculated, and thought that he would be winning in this position, and that's why he went for it. Otherwise, he described after the game that he looked at the move queen d1, and the move queen d1 is sort of borderline okay for white. After queen takes d4, he's got some counterplay for the pawn here. And one of the lines Magnus was looking at was bishop c3. Now, that's not forced, actually. He could play another move like queen c1, for example, and just try to play for the attack with bishop c3. But he was saying that he had even calculated this ending, where he ends up down a pawn, but has reasonable chances to draw because the 2 bishops are quite strong. This pawn on a5 is a little bit weak. And that's, it probably is objectively a draw, this endgame. So Magnus had calculated this. But of course, you don't really want to play down a pawn unless you have to. A move that was actually quite good was queen to c1. A little bit better than queen to d1 because what it does is black is not able to take a pawn here because if you notice, the queen is attacking the bishop on c6. So white could actually take this knight and then take the rook. And, take the bishop. And I was saying rook because it is actually important that the queen is attacking the rook, so that on rook takes a1, we have queen takes e8. And so that's why rook was on my mind. But so that was possible as well, playing queen to c1. But Magnus calculates a long variation here. cb, bishop d4, ba, which is the only sort of logical follow-up here. Bishop takes f2, king f1. And now he sees queen d4, which is, again, the only move because the queen is attacked here. So we don't have time to take a rook. And queen c5 is just a horrible endgame. White will be extremely happy to get this position and have 2 outside pass pawn, just a easily winning endgame here for white. But queen d4 is the right move. And now Magnus calculates queen takes c6. And this is what you got to understand, is that the move bishop takes e1 was also missed for a while by our commentators, as you saw. And that's because the move bishop takes c1 is not that scary. It feels like you're just, you're winning the exchange, but that's such an important bishop that the moves that you want to look at are moves like bishop g3 or bishop h4. And so Magnus had calculated a really long variation here with bishop h4, and he talked about this in the interview after the game. G3 to stop mate, bishop g3, queen f3, and now in this position already, it's not clear how black can play here. It does end up being better for white. So black is in some trouble, and that's what Magnus had seen. And I think they looked at bishop e1, and then he mentioned a variation. So this shows just the depth of his calculation. He mentions this whole line. Bishop c3 here, preparing to play queen f6. So the queen stays on c2. This way there's no queen f6 yet because the bishop is under attack. Bishop c4, which attacks the pawn on f7. Now let's say rook a7, for example, to defend. It's actually a mate threat, right? Queen f6, and then rook to e5. So Magnus saw all of this, and Anish was like, wow, we see that he actually made a joke that Magnus calculates as much as Peter Svidler, who does, calculate very long variations. And black ends up in trouble here, down a bishop for not quite enough compensation. So Magnus had seen this whole thing, but instead, black has the move bishop takes e1, and that move just wins. I did want to show one other variation. Oh yeah, on queen d4, instead of, what could he have done, right? So we decided queen takes e6, loses to bishop takes e1, which we just saw. If bishop takes, queen takes b2 as in the game, and rook takes e1 doesn't help because we have queen takes d2, and that's game over. King takes, by the way, would be queen g1 mate. So those are all the options. But instead of queen takes c6, the best move in the circumstances is probably queen c3. And then there's 2 ways for black to play. One that I'm pretty sure Anish wouldn't play, which is to take the queen, take the exchange, and play this endgame. But it's hard to believe that Yeah, I just think black wouldn't go for this because even though you're up the exchange here, these pawns are just scary. It doesn't actually look really better for black. But black does have here a good option after queen c3 to play queen to h4. And that one looks pretty scary for white. We're threatening things like, bishop d4 in some cases. And there are some cool variations here. For example, if now queen takes c6, bishop c5, threatening mate, forces queen f3, and then queen to d4 wins. Actually, queen f3 is not the best. The best move is g3, sort of a tough move to find. And then on queen d4, queen g2. But here I think black, if Anish finds this, he would happily play this position for black because even though the material is equal, instead of being up in exchange, we have a position with opposite colored bishop where the white king is never going to feel all that safe. So with that said, I think this position, would have been interesting to see on a board. But yeah, so this was a game that Anish won, after this blunder, queen takes c6. So very exciting match. Anish managed to tie it and go into the blitz tiebreak. I hope you enjoyed this slightly long blunder of the day today, and I will see you all tomorrow.